All right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again and welcome to GameStart 2014. Thank you for joining us here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Now, right now, what we're going to do is we're going to have a very special session where some of our games industry experts are going to be joining us right here on stage to tell you how you can get started in the industry and be a games developer. Okay, first of all, joining us here, I'd like to invite Miss Gwen, the co-founder of IMBA Interactive. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause for Gwen?
Sound is our forte. It's what we devote ourselves to. We go to any length to forge a single sonically vivid memory. Because at IMBA, we know how much love and care it takes to build an interactive experience. And as developers ourselves, we can give nothing less. IMBA Interactive. Crank up your game.
All right, that was a video for IMBA Interactive. All right, next, we would like to invite Alex Lim, Talent Acquisition Manager from Ubisoft Singapore. All right, that was the video by Ubisoft. Okay, next, all right, the third member of our panel that we're going to invite on stage is Gregory, the creative director of Witching Hour Studios. right, and now the final member of our four-man panel, all right, we'd like to invite Zander Liang, the co-founder of Inzen Studio. Zander, please join us on stage.
Not too many moons ago, 5 wonderful people, Gerald, Roland, Chinhong, Ling and Zander, met at the Singapore MIT Game Lab.
There, they tinkered and toyed, dreaming up new ways to play. They learned a lot about making games, but more importantly, they learned a great deal about each other.
You see, it was during this time that they discovered they each wished to do more.
They longed to make games that were inventive and rich in lore. They wanted to tell stories.
And having grown to believe in each other, they decided to embark on this adventure together. Along came a Dutch angel who looked at the slot and said,
Let's do it!
What was once 5 has now grown, and Inzen is just over a year old.
They've made games, comics, a life sim, and kaleidoscopic whiz poppers.
Every member of the Inzen family has had a hand in crafting these magical stories, carried through the marvel of play.
And now, they truly love to share one more.
Yours.
All right, a round of applause for all our panel members. All right, let's kick off this panel session, maybe starting with Gwen. All right, and then after that, the rest of the gentlemen. Can you tell me how you guys got started in this industry?
Okay, for me, well, I like playing games and I like music, so just marry them together. That's how I joined it.
All right, and what about yourself, Alex? How did you get started in this industry?
My role is very much recruiting the best talent in the industry. And my background has always been very much on recruitment at the exec search domain. And obviously coming over here is fantastic. You know, it's an industry you never have to wear a tie. It's a very creative industry. I'll say that it's fun. That's most important.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's one of the most important things about joining any industry is bring the element of fun, bring your fun personality to it. And in the gaming industry especially, I think we need a very fun people. All right, of course, like Ian. Ian, can you tell us how you got started?
Well, to be honest, it was an accident. I never really trained for it. I joined the industry while I was in school, and it was really by accident. So if anything, if any of you are interested, you don't actually need to study it to do it. And that's what we love about it so much.
All right. By accident, that's also a good thing. You know, sometimes you just fall in love without knowing how it happened. All right, can we also have Zander tell us how did you get started in this industry?
Well, I studied in Liang Poly for digital media design, and I started in industry as a game artist. But eventually now I am actually no longer a game artist. I'm handling like product strategy and marketing. So it's actually a long story, but just to cut it short, while I was as a game artist, I realized that it's not something that I pursue or I foresee myself working on this for a long time. So during my 3 years as a game artist, at the night time, I self-taught myself marketing. I did experimental projects like e-commerce website and stuff. So eventually I got an opportunity to career switch from a game artist to a marketing position in Singapore Gambit MIT Game Lab. So that's basically how I got.
All right, thank you very much, Zander. Of course, one of the easiest ways to get started in the gaming industry, of course, is joining one of the courses, all right, one of the digital courses in the polytechnics. Okay, can I just, maybe one of you share with us, why are you all here today? You know, why do you all feel that you want to share with the rest of our, gaming enthusiasts, all right, about the industry itself? Why are you all here and what do you want to share?
Well, to be honest, the game industry in Singapore is one big family. And we have all our idiosyncrasies. We've got the crazy uncles, we've got the nosy aunties, and it's gorgeous. And more than anything else, the reward of making something and bringing pleasure to another person is so rewarding, and that's something I hope that you guys could enjoy at some point as well.
All right, okay, now we're going to go into some of these questions. We generally know that, there are 3 main roles, all right, 3 main roles in game development. We have programming, we have art, and we have design. Can you tell us more about each, assuming, any of us here wants to pursue these 3 areas? How do you get into these areas and, can you tell us more about these 3 areas?
For fresh grad, I think Singapore obviously has a number of tertiaries that it's actually open for students who actually be interested in the game industry. Ubisoft is a little bit unique in the sense that just for programming alone, we have several specialty. So you have a tools programmer, you have a UI physics and whatnot. You know, the list just goes on and on and on itself. I would think that the fundamental itself is that you must love games. You are at the end of the day, you are actually developing and be part of the development family. To actually develop a game for the fans who have actually been supporting you. That's how I actually look at it. Your knowledge in the industry, your job family that you're actually interested in joining is actually very important. You got to actually be very clear in terms of what do you want to do. Do you want to be a programmer? Do you want to be an artist? All these can actually start very early. It's never too late, obviously, to actually change your career path. Probably Gwen has a little bit more on that to share.
Yep, Gwen?
Yeah, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the roles that are outside of the mentioned ones. And I will always call these roles the unloved children of the games industry. We are talking about audio, we are talking about marketing, producers, biz dev, marketing, HR, all these. Like, very few people think about this, but they are all important. For example, the producer, right, will make sure that like the team is organized and that you guys meet your milestones, and this is really, really important because organization is super important. Making sure your team is happy and well fed is important. And for myself, I'm the sound person, so we try to encourage our clients to think of sound from the very start. All these things, biz dev, QA, all that, you have to think of them from the very, very start because like Ian said, we are one big family, and when you make a game, it's also one big family making the whole game. So it's important to start all the way from the very start.
All right, so I guess beyond programming, art, and design, there are many different
Cinematics,
roles.
for example, that's what you actually see.
Well, that's exactly why what we want to tell you guys is that you don't need to necessarily do any of these traditional roles to join the game industry. If you are doing a business degree, if you're doing psychology, do game design. There are many options and there are many places that we're more than happy to welcome you to do something interesting.
Okay, but if I study something like business or something that's not related, or if I go into an industry that's not related to the games industry, is it very hard for me to make a jump from one industry into the game industry? Is it very hard to make the jump, the transition, and if I wanted to do that, how do I do that?
Before I joined the game industry, I was actually a copywriter for advertising, and I decided that I wanted to do something else. And that is the beauty of the game industry. It is very welcoming of new ideas, of passionate people. And when the people that are already in the game industry, see you as passionate, we want to help you join us. We want people like you to help build what we have here. So it's very easy because we want you. So the jump is not that difficult.
I was just thinking that no matter jumping from one industry to another, there's always a period of transition where you need to adapt. But I think the core basis is if you love games, if you make it as an art and study it, you will get along with the developers, you will learn the terms and stuff, but it's the determination and the passion that drives you forward. If you want to make it happen, I believe you can, because we are all humans. Like, he was from advertising, and I was a game artist, but I became doing like marketing stuff, which was totally not related to what I studied. But if you have that passion to study it, I think you can make it happen.
All right, I'm sure there are many people here who are very passionate and probably interested in joining the games industry themselves. But they're probably thinking, how do I prepare myself, mentally, or what kind of preparation do I need to get ready to join this industry and be successful in the games industry? What kind of preparation should I go through before I join the industry?
I think if you are just graduated from a school, very important is to actually understand the company that you're actually applying for. I mean, just 4 of us here, there are 4 different companies. Some people might send your standard resume to all 4 different companies. So you need to really know what that company is actually doing, what sort of product. Again, like Ubisoft, for example, we have so many games, but what are we doing here in Singapore? The sort of research that you actually need to know is very important. You need to get yourself very prepared in terms of the resume, your application, interview, or even if it's actually just a phone interview, for the first 30 minutes that I might call you, that really makes an impression. So these are actually probably the fundamental, the basics that needs to be done first.
There's also a matter of preparing yourself and getting involved in the industry before you want to join it. Like, for example, both Gwen and Zander come from the Gambit program. which allowed them to try making games before they join the company. I think they can tell you a lot more about it.
Well, I mean, for me, when I first come out from the army, like within the serve national service, I was very, very lost, and I just got the opportunity to join Gambit. And Gambit was relatively a very small. We work on games in a very small team, where essentially you can start from the concept phase all the way to finishing a prototype or the game idea. So from there, as a game artist, I'm not just doing art, but I was able to see the full process of how you develop games, and I think that was a pretty good insight as a beginner. And maybe I'm not too sure if is that something that bigger companies like Ubisoft would be able to provide for their
Yes,
employees.
definitely one of the very good options, because for the last 2 GIP programs, Ubisoft has actually been working very closely with the students. We have actually been sponsoring the program. We have actually been working very closely with the students. In fact, we have actually quite a number of our senior experts who are actually guiding and mentoring the students on different perspectives. We can actually be talking about the design, the QA, the level design or game design in many perspectives of games development. So Ubisoft actually does a lot of collaboration with GIP as well.
Yeah, that's actually the Games Innovation Program. It's a program that's run by SUTD, and it gives you a very good glimpse of what actually making games is about. It's something that's run in Singapore. It's a summer program. If you're keen to find out what it's actually like, actually among you, I see some of the people from the GIP program, hunt them down. They can tell you a lot more about what's going on, right? I see you people. We as the industry like to get involved in the program as well and support it, because this is where the new talent is going to be coming from.
Yeah. Another word about how do you get into the industry is that I can't emphasize the importance of networking. And like when you network, I can't emphasize the importance of self-awareness. So there's another thing I want to talk about is neutrality. And like this is something that like is seldom talked about, but like there is a sort of like, you don't badmouth games. I mean, you don't badmouth your other people's games. You don't badmouth like the company's games that you're applying for, the company that you're applying for. You don't badmouth their rivals. So you come in and you listen. Listening is such an understated virtue. On top of that, you also have to remember to be confident. You know, sometimes people come and show me their game. They're like, the first thing they start off with is like, oh, my game, by the way, has X and X bugs, X amount of bugs. But no, you tell me about your game, the premise of your game. What are you trying to achieve with the game? So that's more important.
The selling point.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with what Gwen has said, because I remember when I was studying, my lecturers told me the 2 golden rules that I always must remember. Number 1, never ever badmouth anyone. If you don't like somebody or something, don't tell other people about it, because if you do, you never know when the word will spread around and bite you back in the butt. And the second thing was to network. So, even your lunch hour, sometimes we feel very tired during lunch, you just want to eat alone. Never ever waste your lunch hour. Always spend that hour that you're eating lunch, all right, networking with somebody, an old friend, an old colleague, a former lecturer, whatever it is. You never know where these things lead to. So I think these are very good insights that we're having here. Now let's say we've done all this stuff, all right. We've gone for the SUTD GIP program. We prepared ourselves, and now we're going for the job application and interview process. Can you tell us what are employers looking for when they look at us? What can we do to make them hire us? What are they exactly looking for?
I think the most important thing is attitude. Because at the end of the day, technical skill, we as a company, we can train you in that. We can teach you those skills. What we cannot teach you is how to be a good person, how to work in a team, how to share, the good and the bad with the people around you. Another thing I would say on the more practical end is make things outside of school. Because when you make something in school, the guy to the left of you and to the right of you, he's pretty much doing the same thing. So if you want to set yourself apart, do things outside of your curriculum. Show us what you love so that we can love it too.
Just if I may actually add on, this is actually a good way to actually showcase your product, because obviously, Ian, they'll have actually a booth right at the back. If you have a game, you might want to show them, they might be interested in working with you. That's actually another way that you can actually do smart interviews. They can actually interview you straight on the spot. They don't have to actually look into your resume. But of course, when you actually attend an interview itself, be punctual, be prepared. done your research, and present yourself well. That's the basic that you should be doing.
Most important, please play games. Honest to God, I have people coming and going like, I want a job, but I've never played a game before. Please play games.
I just want to add on, I mean, for me, I grew up without the consoles, and so actually I play very little games. And it felt a little bit awkward when I first started out a game artist because I was missing out all those stuff when people are discussing as well. I can't get in on a topic. So that was also a point I realized that actually being a game artist or a game developer, you really need to play games. The more you play, the more you get exposed, you understand the stuff that people are talking about, you can contribute more to the team. So that's actually very, very important.
To add on about what Zander said, it's important to be able to think critically. So for example, interview questions will be something like, what's your favorite game? And can you break down the game mechanics for me? These are certain things that you guys have got to prepare yourselves for, to be able to critically analyze games that you play. That also means that you can't fully have fun playing the game anymore, but you can manage.
Okay, those were very good insights. I hope you guys have caught everything they said, Playing games, all right, release your passion, do things outside of the curriculum, and of course some of the very basic things like networking, and of course being very prepared for interviews, like researching a game even before you go for your interviews. Now, but what about those people who want to go off the beaten track? They may not want to join a company and be an employee, but they want to start their own gaming company. So what advice do we have for people who are entrepreneurs, a more entrepreneurial mindset, and they want to start their own gaming company?
I think the most important thing is don't think too much, just do it. Because you will never be ready. There's never enough marketing material, there is never enough research, there is never enough talent. The most important thing is just do it. Get it done. Register your company. Find good people to support you.
For me, I think I'm slightly more risk-averse. For me, it's like, think about your savings, right? I mean, doing games is not always like a smooth sailing. There's always up and down, and eventually you need to feed yourself. So just make sure that you have ample backup plans and stuff, right? Yeah, I mean, that's reality. I'm sorry.
It's fair.
And also another important point is that if you guys are intending to work in a team, make sure your teammates and you get along. I mean, you guys will quarrel and squabble, some even cry, shout at each other, but at the end of the day, you have to stay committed to your company values and the game that you're making,
I will also add that when you start your own company, that means you're going to start hiring people. That means people will look to you for guidance, for leadership, to take care of them. And the best people, the best employees are the ones that don't have worries. And it is your job as the company owner to make sure that they are taken care of. They don't have worries so that they can give you their best work.
All right, thank you. Those are very good insights, all right? Of course, it's very important. I guess the most important thing in doing any business is how you take care of people. Your staff always come first. And it's the staff that actually help you to build the games that, you end up being successful with. Now, what kind of games do you think, can we talk about some of the games that most our local companies make? Bill, tell us a bit about the industry here. What kind of games do our local companies make?
I mean, I'll speak for my company. Basically, we do slightly more casual mobile games, more action, arcade stuff. So that's basically what we've been working on. If you drop by our booth, I can show you more. We are at the indie booth G17. I'll be there later. You guys can find me there.
We kind of do things a bit differently. We like hardcore strategy games. We like turn-based strategy. We are even currently working on an RPG. So we like to do things like that. I would say that joining the game industry, a lot of people are doing free-to-play now. There are a number of doing a bit more ambitious things, but yeah, so mostly free-to-play, arcadey stuff, things they can pick up and play. There are a few companies that like to make annoyingly big things like us.
Ghost Recon,
Assassin's Creed.
Naval Battle.
As a service provider, IMBA has worked on several games, both of their games we've worked on. So we have strategy, we have action, mostly mobile games. We've also worked on the PS4 title, which is One Upon Light by SUTD Game Lab. So that one is a top-down puzzle. We've also worked on serious games. For those of you who heard of the company Serious Games International, we do things like simulations, like what happens if there's a disaster that strikes Singapore, and then there's this simulation thing that you gotta get out. So yeah, we do that kind of thing also. So there are really all sorts of things, but primarily it's mobile games.
Okay, maybe I just have a question about the future. You know, the future of the games industry, both locally or even regionally or internationally. Can you give us a preview of what you all think is coming up in the future, or what you're hoping to see in the future for the games industry?
I think the industry is still very vibrant. I'm just taking it, for example, in Singapore itself. You know, many of the foreign companies have actually been very interested in, you know, working with some of the best young talent in the industry over here in Singapore. There's still a lot of passion. You know, every time we actually have new people joining the company, joining the industry, we see that they want to make very good games. So we can see a lot of them wanting to actually pursue their dreams, to actually do more good games. And I'm sure that, you know, with that, you know, with the new gen of console that is actually coming in, with new monetization strategy coming on the mobile tablet or mobile platform itself, there would actually be a lot of impact for the industry in general.
I think year on year, the kind of resumes we have been getting have been very impressive. The quality that you guys are putting out has been very good, and I think that we will see that in the industry. We will get a lot more quality titles coming out of Singapore soon. I'm pretty certain of that.
In terms of attitude, I'm happy to see more and more people willing to share their ideas. I mean, previously we had people, they go like, no, it's my idea and all that. I don't want people to steal. But nowadays there are more and more people stepping up. And I strongly encourage this, is that go to like your friends, your family, go to like things like coffee shop game dev, IGDA meetups, bring your game, show it to people and get suggestions and just listen to what they have to say. Because like really synergy is important.
For me, I think game industry is really changing very fast. It's so rapid, and 1 year down the road, you wouldn't know what's new and what's old already. So one thing, if you are really interested to join the game industry, is to keep yourself updated by following like Tech in Asia, Games in Asia, and there are a lot of other sources that you can get your information from, so that you are well equipped and you know the industry better.
Talking about these sources of information, just maybe to close off, where can I go to find out more information about the gaming industry? You know, after listening to this panel, where can I do my research? Where do I go if I want to find out more about joining the industry?
Right now, there are a number of websites in the region. So if you're looking at Games in Asia, Tech in Asia, E27, these are all places that cover what's going on here. I would greatly advise you to check out Gamma Sutra. That's somewhere where you can actually see what goes into making a game. There's even a lot of case studies about how games are made. So if you want to get a glimpse of what it is to make a game, that is a fantastic place to do so.
Another thing is social media. For those of you that like stalking people on Facebook, I'm not asking you to stalk, but follow the game designers' Twitters of your favorite games and see what they post. Like your favorite game designers, favorite artists, favorite musicians or whoever. Just follow them on Twitter because they have a lot of interesting insight and opinions, and it's almost akin to having them on a panel like us.
All right, thank you to our 4 panel experts. And now we're going to open the questions to the floor. Do any of y'all have any questions for our panel? All right, this is a very rare opportunity to have 4 people here. Okay, we'll just borrow the mic. Anybody have any questions for our panel about the games industry? All right, this is a very valuable opportunity. So if you guys want to ask, all right, we have a person over here. Yep. Tell me your name and what's your question, and tell me your name, where you're from, and what your question is.
My name is Justin. My question is, do polytechnics and ITEs like help? What they teach? Is it how do you put it? My question is, do what schools like polytechnics like Nanyang Polytechnic and Temasek Polytechnic, what they teach about game development, are they relevant to what modern game designers do?
Okay, let me just repeat the question just to be sure. You're asking the relevance of what's being taught in the polytechnics. Am I correct to say? Yeah, NYP student, is it? Okay. I know, don't get into trouble lah. Okay, so I would say that yes, for the very simple reason that there is a baseline that you need to know. But if you're only going to walk away with whatever they teach you in class, it's not enough. The onus is on you to find out more. The curiosity, the passion to go find out more from what you learned in school, that's up to you. But whatever they teach you has value.
Another thing is don't be a loner in school. Like, no, seriously, the best thing about school is the network, because the same people that are going to graduate from your batch are going to be out there in the industry, and you guys are going to make magic together, trust me.
Maybe I just add on, like I was in NYP and back then I was really out of touch. I don't even know, like, when I was starting, will I be in the game industry or what's there out there for me. So if anyone is feeling out there, I feel you. And my advice, if I look back from now for where I am, I think that the time that you're in school, even though it's busy rushing assignment and stuff, but I think it's also a great chance for you to get plugged into the industry, like going for this kind of events or trying to get to know people in the industry. I think it helps a lot when you are connected with people, asking for advice or just just be friends, right? I think it helps a lot. So when you're in school, I think, especially I think NYP, they are kind of well connected. If you talk to your lecturers and stuff, I believe they might be able to introduce you to people who you might want to know. Yep.
All right, those are very good insights, of course. Very simple, just be curious, okay? Network more, and of course, get connected to the industry in whatever way possible that you can, whether it's through your lecturers, all right, or talking to the industry people itself, or actually going for industry events. So any more curious people here? Yes, you have a gentleman here. I will find a way to get you the mic. Let's see. What's the question? Tell us your name as well as where you're from and what your question is.
Hi, my name is Vincent. I studied multimedia game development at University of Wollongong. My question is when you see a portfolio, for example, a programmer, a designer, or an artist, what do you usually see?
So, programmers, artists, and designers. Artists first. I would definitely be looking for your online portfolio. And that's the first thing. Without an online portfolio, I seriously do not know what are you capable of doing. So that's actually number one. For a designer, obviously, I'll be looking into what sort of educational background do you actually have. Have you actually done any personal projects? That would actually be very interesting for us. For a programmer, I guess it's very much depending on the programming language that you actually have from your background. I think academic results as a freshie is actually very important. And we've looked into what sort of projects, side projects, school projects, personal projects that you have actually done. So these are actually some of the things that I'll be on the lookout. The moment I actually receive an email, have a look at your resume. Is there a link to whatever sort of projects or online portfolio? So that's actually the first few things for me.
I would say for me, the most important thing is your projects. I'm not interested in how well you did in school. That piece of paper doesn't really matter very much to me. What matters is whether you want to do what you want to join a company, you want to do something good. That's what matters. So your portfolio, way more important than your transcripts. Very important is a good resume. Because at the end of the day, the resume, if you all don't know, the resume is how you communicate to us what you want to tell us. So if your resume is poor and we don't understand it, how can I expect you to explain something complex to another programmer or like trying to explain it to an artist what you're trying to do? So I'm looking for communication skills. If you give me something that's made out of Microsoft Word and it looks, like the text all over the place, some got bullet points, some no bullet point, I wonder whether you can survive when, the buck is up.
All right, any last questions? Maybe we have one last, oh, we got so many people. Where? Over there. All right, we'll start over there. All right, tell us your name, where you're from, and what your question is.
I'm Faris. Hi.
Hi, Faris.
I'm from Multimedia Infocom Technology in NYP. Yeah, I know that quality assurance tester is a very important, it's a very popular position that a lot of people are looking for. But what are the specific things that you guys look towards for QA testers?
Honestly speaking, QA testing is something that is not very well covered in Singapore. Usually, bigger companies
have a lot of QA testing.
We can't afford QA testers. We have friends.
I think it's the fundamentals again. You know, if a fresh graduate, you just graduated from NYP, and you're ready to actually engage in a job which is actually relevant to QA. First of all, you know, we look into your resume and things like that. We've said it many times, but very importantly, for almost all the positions that we actually hire, we bring you in for a test. So be it for programming, be it for art or QA, you have to actually come into our studio for a test. And obviously our QA guys, our QA lead and managers would actually be addressing a few relevant questions to see where the fit is.
Actually, the Game Innovation Program at SUTD has a QA position, and that gives you a very good view of what a QA actually does. It's about analytic skills, understanding how things work, why they work, and why they don't.
All right, maybe we have one last question. I think I saw a young lady just now, or was it a man with long hair? All right, I saw somebody.
We don't judge.
All right, okay, let's see. One last question, all right, one last question. The gentleman in white.
Sorry, so I have a question. Okay. Sorry. So my question is, what programming language will you recommend someone new to start with?
Let me repeat. Is it what programming language we're looking for?
Yeah. Or what's the industry standard?
Right now, what's in vogue is C++ and C#, I guess. A lot of Singaporean companies are working with Unity right now. So if you know a little bit of what to do with Unity, chances are you will find a fit somewhere. Yeah.
I think C and C++ is actually the fundamental.
Yeah.
You've got to be very strong in that to actually develop in other programming language. Never lose that, in the game industry especially.
All right, I guess our four game industry experts have probably, shared as much as they can share. All right, within the last 45 minutes, and of course answered many of your questions about the industry and even going down to some very, very fine details about programming. All right, with that, I'd like to thank all our industry experts for joining us today and sharing